You and I are going wine shopping together. You can find a sensational bottle of wine for criminally low prices. Let's get started exploring and tasting new wines together. Today, we venture into one of my very favorite categories of wine, and that is Italian whites. When you begin to explore the world of Italian grapes, you begin to realize that you're in for a lifelong adventure. This is because a seemingly endless army of grape varieties call Italy home. Officially, only about 350 grapes are recognized for winemaking, but the reality is that there are thousands of different winemaking grapes planted in Italy. A lot of these don't make it outside the country, but this variety and range of grapes makes Italy the perfect place to start exploring and learning and tasting new wines. About 80% of the wine that the world drinks is coming from only about 20 grapes, which is just not enough. There are so many other things to taste and try out there, and so we're going to introduce you to something new today. I am very happy to pour you a glass of Grillo. Grillo's homeland is Sicily, the island that lies just off the toe of Italy's boot. This is the perfect place for this vigorous grape to grow because it loves arid, hot climates. It's unclear exactly how this grape arrived in Sicily, but there is one theory that it was brought over from the nearby southern Italian region of Puglia. It's also thought that it might be the variety that was used in the ancient Roman wine Mamertino, which was a particular favorite of Julius Caesar's. By the end of the 20th century, Grillo was already widely planted across western Sicily. Grillo is a crossing of two other Italian grapes called Catarratto and Moscato d'Alessandria, which is also known as Zabibo. It was historically used almost exclusively, along with a few other native grapes, in the production of Marsala, a dry, or sometimes sweet, fortified wine. Marsala is traditionally served as an aperitif between the first and second courses of a meal, though a lot of us are most familiar with Marsala as a cooking wine. I will say though, a lot of those bottles of Marsala that you're gonna find in your typical grocery store are not gonna be great for sipping on their own. They really are best used for cooking, but you know what? Hey, sip on them, live your life, do what you want, drink what you like. Plantings of Grillo severely declined by the 1960s, and the grape was almost abandoned completely. But then in 1990, famous Marsala producer Marco de Bartoli decided to try something new and vinified Grillo as a single varietal dry white wine, and it was a huge success. Since then, there has been a dramatic uptick in Grillo plantings, and this grape is getting some well-deserved recognition all on its own merit. I picked up this bottle of Grillo at Whole Foods for $12.99. This is Cantine de Volpi's Sospiro Grillo. And this winery has been producing since 1914, and they've really put an emphasis on clean agriculture. They started a wholly organic portfolio in 1999. So if you are looking for a wine that's certified organic and or vegan, that's something that's a priority for you, you are in luck because this wine is both. So that being said, let's dive into the glass. Really pale, beautiful, lemony color, little bits, glints of green in there as well, which you can probably see in the bottle. And on the nose, it's very aromatic. It's honestly a little more aromatic than I expected in a lovely way. Jumping out to me right away, this is funny. So I'm getting a lot of ripe mangoes, but specifically I'm getting this mango licorice. It's an Australian brand that makes the typical flavors of licorice, but they make a mango one, and this smells exactly like it. Like I just cracked open a bag of that. So I'm getting a lot of that, and then these beautiful floral cherry blossom notes, white roses, and then a lot of ripe, juicy stone fruit notes, yellow peaches, nectarines. Again, the tropical notes of the mango, papaya. Lovely citrus notes on this as well, very ripe ruby red grapefruit, and lovely notes of this green herbaceous quality as well. There's fresh parsley, fresh thyme. So it's this beautiful dichotomy of savory and juicy sweet fruits. It's not a sweet wine, but just very ripe fruit-forward fruits on the nose, along with that savoriness and a brininess as well. Like olive juice. It's subtle, but it's in there. And also like a sea brine as well, like seaweed. It's very fresh, sea spray. I love that. Little beeswax too, a little waxy. There is this lean note on there, almost like a green apple skin, where it has that tartness and that bite a little bit. You're right, I should just drink it. That's really fun. On the nose, it smells a lot riper, a lot more flamboyant than on the palate. It still has all of those notes that I mentioned before, the juicy peaches, but there's this vein of that savoriness and of the green and of the pithiness of citrus that just kind of gives it this lovely backbone and muscularity. It's still a very light, refreshing wine, but it has this kind of serious edge to it that's quite lovely. It's a nice balance. It's not just this fruit bomb. It has something kind of interesting and funky going on that's kind of playful and quirky. I like it. Yeah, I love all these lovely herbaceous notes. Again, the thyme, maybe even sage in there a little bit as well. And yeah, the pithiness of the grapefruit, that green apple skin is absolutely present there. I'm getting a little bit of fennel as well. Still with the florality and the fruit, but it does, again, have a little bit more of an edge to it. Acidity is medium to medium plus. Medium to medium plus, yeah. It's not super light in body. It's not gonna be watery. It has a little bit of extra heft to it, but it's not high in alcohol. A lot of times high alcohol wines will add texture and viscosity to it. This seems to be medium. It's 12.5%, so yeah, that's medium alcohol. But it just gives it this lovely, lovely texture. As far as food pairing goes, we talk about in the wine world, there's this lovely saying that makes pairing very easy. What grows together goes together. So this wine is from Sicily. Odds are, not always, but usually it's gonna pair really well with the foods of the region. Sicily's an island, so you can imagine there's quite a bit of seafood going on in parts of the island on the coasts. So this is gonna be lovely with both lighter seafood, more delicate fish, shellfish, gonna be lovely with prawns. But I can see, because of that vein and that little bit of muscularity and structure that I mentioned, this could be really good with a slightly more structured, muscular fish, perhaps like grilled swordfish. That savoriness, I think that this can stand up to that, but still wouldn't overpower a lighter fish, which is fun. Great with pastas, especially pastas with pesto sauce, that herbaceousness, again, to play with the herbaceousness in the wine. There's also a pasta from Sicily called pasta alla norma, which is anchovies, sardines, which Sicily is very famous for, and fennel, which is a note I mentioned in here before as well. And that would be delicious with this wine. This is a really quirky little wine I quite like. If you enjoy Pinot Grigio and you want something a little more herbaceous, or if you like Sauvignon Blanc, that was something that kind of jumped up into my mind when I smelled this wine that it was slightly similar to, because it had the florality, the tropical fruit notes, and that green note. Slightly different green than a Sauvignon Blanc, but it's there, and the citrus as well. This would be really fun if you like Sauvignon Blanc. I think you'll find a lot of qualities in this wine that are similar to that you're gonna like in here. And this is just a great all-around wine, especially with the summer coming. You can bring this to pretty much any setting, function, dinner, gathering, and people are really gonna like it. It is so much fun to get to discover or rediscover and taste and learn about these wines with you. And Italy just has so many delicious white wines. Grillo is one of many, many different native varieties that you should absolutely seek out. The red wines of Italy get some much deserved love, but the whites can absolutely knock your socks off. So please grab yourself a bottle of Grillo. Let me know what you think about it. And until next week, keep exploring and of course, tasting new wines. Salud.